evening all. So yeah, welcome everyone to episode 4, Shark Attack Case Files. Sorry I haven't done a video in a while, but I've been pretty busy. But anyway, so just getting into this attack basically, let's just dive into it. So this attack took place in the Mediterranean, believe it or not. There are shark attacks in the Mediterranean. So this is the Tyrrhenian Sea, this is Corsica, Sardinia, this is the Tuscany region of Italy. If we scroll in, yeah, and this small coastal town here, Piombino. This is where the attack took place, just off the coast here. So just jumping into some statistics, against the global documented great white shark fatalities. Basically, 14 documented great white shark attacks have happened or have taken place in Italy, and the first one documented in the literature dates back to 1721. And the last one was 2008. And the 2008 one basically involved an immigrant boat capsizing, but we might get into that in another video. But yeah, but there's evidence of earlier attacks, but we'll come to that at the end of the video because it's quite an interesting statistic on that. So yeah, 14 attacks off the coast of Italy, crazy. So this attack took place in 1989, February the 2nd on a Thursday. And yeah,
Luciano
Giuliano Costanza.
Costanza.
So he was a male, 47. He was scuba diving, and he was attacked by a very large 6 meter, 20-foot great white shark. And the attack took place sort of 10:30 in the morning. If you can see the visual, there's a picture of this Piombino, this sort of picturesque, typical Tuscany Italian sort of coastal town. Yeah, the water depth. So they were basically 1 mile from shore, a clear, beautiful Mediterranean day, sort of 27 meters of water, which is sort of nearly 90 feet, which is pretty deep. But obviously, this guy was wearing the full scuba gear, so he had the full, double tanks, flippers, wetsuit, mask, the full biff. Though he was basically in the water. I was spearfishing or removing some debris from a pipe, a little bit of both maybe, but there's some conflicting evidence on what they were actually doing out there, but it was either one or the other or both. And he was out there with his son and his friend because they would obviously stay in the boat. You have one diver in the water, yeah, and this attack was fatal. And the moon was in the third quarter phase. So yeah, so basically what happened is Constanzo he basically initially encountered the shark on the seabed, but as any rational human being would do with no training whatsoever, not that you can have shark training, he panicked and he made for the surface, as quickly as he could, and he hit the surface. As he hit the surface, the shark made a cautionary turn, and this guy, Constanza, he basically swam for the boat as quickly as he could. He was just swimming for the boat, trying to make the boat. And then his friend Pablo and his son started the boat engine, intending to sort of move towards the shark. Maybe to compel it to leave the area. Maybe the noise of the boat would scare it away. But before he was able to reach the boat, the shark made one last launch, and just basically made a violent charge towards him, grabbed him by the chest and just took him beneath the surface and just begun to shake him side to side, just shaking him, vigorously shaking him. And basically what the shark done is just kept shaking him, just constantly shaking him until it dislodged his air tanks and his goggles and his flippers. And once it had done that, it just completely consumed him. Yeah, and his son commented that he could see his father in the shark's mouth. Yeah, and the shark ate him. And once the some rescuers obviously were alerted, or the local fire rescue chief came out, or whatever people came out, and all they found on the surface was just some bits of tissue, possibly some liver, pancreas, just floating on the surface, just buoyant human remains, just seagulls picking at it. Yeah, and this guy was nothing was ever found, basically. Just absolutely insane, complete tragedy, obviously for these people who witnessed it. But yeah, there was some experts managed to get hold of his tanks, his weight belt, his fins. Well, they were all recovered. It was just that him himself and his wetsuit was not recovered, so that was all consumed by the shark. But they pulled up his equipment, and they done a lot of forensic examination on his equipment. Yeah, and they could see the bite marks, lacerations, just minimal pressure, indentations. They could see the damage to the tanks, the belt, the webbing. Yeah, yeah, and it's just insane that the shark just kept shaking and shaking and shaking until it dislodged all his equipment and then ate him. I think that's just crazy. There's one thing to note in the Mediterranean. I think the Mediterranean has the highest percentage of consumption of any area of attack. So basically, if you get attacked by a great white shark in the Mediterranean, more often than not, I think it's 86% of the time you get consumed. Whereas like in other areas of the world, like the US, South Africa, Australia, often than not, if you're attacked by a shark, you don't get eaten by the shark. You just get attacked by the shark. So it might be mistaken identity. So whether this is to do with the fact that great white sharks are so rare in the Mediterranean, and there's not really a lot for them to eat, as you know, their main source of food, tuna, has been depleted by overfishing. So any attack or most attacks that happen in the Med, the sharks, yeah, they're they're basically out for a meal, yeah, and they'll just keep going and going and going until they get their meal. So they're not, once they've hit it, that they need, they need the sustenance. So that, yeah, that's an insane statistic, really, how the Mediterranean differs from other parts of the world. Yeah, I just find that crazy. Yeah, and there was some conflict. There was some conflict about this attack because some of the local jurisdiction, they tried to downplay it and try and blame it on other things, but the forensic evidence was just too overwhelming, and it did it the coroner's proceedings did mark it down as a fatal attack, even though there was some implications that there was something else going on. But obviously, that it was just trying maybe to protect the tourism in the area. They didn't want any undue bad publicity, but it did go down as a great white shark attack or great white shark fatality. So yeah, crazy attack this one. Yeah, this is the vase. This vase basically, believe it or not, was actually pulled offshore, just off that island to the west of where this attack happened. So this was just dredged from the seabed, very close to where the actual attack took place. And this vase dates back to 720 BC, and it actually depicts a human being consumed by a shark, if you believe it or not. So even thousands of years ago, what happened to Constanzo was still happening to Romans, I guess, at the time. Is that what they would have been? No, probably Rome wasn't even formed then, was it? It was ancient Italians. If you call them Romans, yeah, those guys were still being attacked by sharks even then in the Mediterranean. Now, obviously, as well, a much bigger population in the Mediterranean back then. It's a very small population of great white sharks now in the Mediterranean. So yeah, but I mean, we might revisit some more Mediterranean shark attacks in subsequent videos. But yeah, I find this a very interesting attack. So I hope you enjoyed that one.